Hello, hello, and welcome back to another episode of Embodied Divinity. I'm so grateful that you're here, sharing this sacred space with me as we prepare to step into a new calendar year, a time and space in the collective that invites reflection, intention, and perhaps most importantly, alignment. Before we get into today's teaching, which is going to be all about the frequency of love, healing samskaras, and really living from Christ consciousness, I want to just settle into this space. Let's take a moment to honor the here and now, breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. And just thank yourself for being here, for showing up today, for choosing to invest in this high frequency, oh so tender space. I hope you had a beautiful holiday, however you might have spent it. Mine was full of growth, of evolution, of really being with the enoughness of the moment. And I'll talk more about that today, I'm sure. But let's dive in because I am very, very excited about everything we get to move through today. It's funny, I had something totally different in mind. And last night, as I was laying on the yoga mat, Source said, "Hey, we need you to change your theme for this week." I don't know if you guys have noticed, probably not, but I do themes every week where the podcast, the meditation, and everything I post and write about is along the same lines. And it helps me create structure, but it also helps just like really focus on the energy and intention. So I was really excited about what I had planned this week. And then Source was like, we're going to change it. And honestly, I'm totally on board because this is so ooey gooey. So today, I want to really dive into something that feels essential for these revolutionary times, and that is living with a wide open heart. Not the kind of like ooey gooey love that depends on everything going right or people behaving in a certain way, but the kind of love and open heart that exists as a frequency, as a state of being, as a choice. And we'll explore more what it means to embody this frequency of love, how samskaras, which are the subconscious patterns we carry, can block us from it, and how Christ consciousness offers us a powerful example of what's possible when we live in this space. None of this is about bypassing the challenges of life, it's about meeting them with a heart that remains open, even when it's hard. It's about trusting that love is the most powerful frequency we can live at, and it can transform not only our lives, but the lives around us. For me, this last few weeks, I've deepened into this place of surrender that I never knew was possible before. And really, this was going to be a big part of our theme. So I'm just going to touch on it for a moment. But you guys have heard me talk about in the past my struggle with letting go of my achievement and production oriented way of being. And really this last month, with all the consumerism that was in the air, with all the going and everything I was witnessing, I really took some time to step back. My kids are getting older, and I've been really cultivating this deep and sacred presence with them, really just like soaking up every moment I have with them before they go out into the world and create their own lives. And Source keeps whispering to me, can you let this be enough? Can you let this moment be enough? Can you be happy with what is happening right here, right now, as a choice that you are making? rather than trying to figure out the next thing or produce the next thing or be the next thing. And so I've really just been practicing that in every moment, saying, I'm letting this be enough, whether it's crazy traffic. Can I choose to be happy and let this be perfect and enough? Whether it's family drama over the holidays, can I let this be enough and perfect? Whether it's a messy house or a fun conversation or an absolute surprise, can I let this be enough and choose happiness in this moment? And that has broken my heart wide open to the beauty and the miracles of life when I've really just been able to step back and really, really, truly watch life happen for me. And it leads us right into, as we surrender to life happening for us, as we stand in our power, can we lead with an open heart? So today, let's start this with the idea of living at the frequency of love. And what does it actually mean? One of my favorite questions that I've asked myself constantly for the last decade in every situation, what would love do? I have this quote sticky noted 3 times in my house, in my car, everything, because it's this potent reminder. What would love do? And that's how you kind of keep yourself grounded in this frequency and this way of being, is constantly returning to love, even in the moments when it feels hard. It's not about romantic love or even unconditional love, the kind that says, I'll love you as long as you love me back. It's about unconditional love, the kind that flows from an open heart, regardless of circumstances. This frequency of love isn't something you have to earn or achieve. It's your natural state, literally what you are. It's the vibration you're born into before life layers on its stories, its wounds, its expectations. But here's the thing, living at this frequency requires courage. To love unconditionally yourself, others, the world, you have to be willing to leave your heart wide open. And that doesn't mean you let people walk all over you or that you ignore your boundaries. It means you don't let the actions of others close your heart. You don't let fear, resentment, or past pain block your ability to love. Because love isn't just a feeling, it's a state of being, a way of seeing the world, a choice you make every single day. And when you live at this frequency, you're not just transforming your inner world, you're shifting the energy around you. Love is magnetic, it draws in miracles, healing, connection, and alignment. So here's the question I want you to sit with as we explore this today. What would it look like to live with your heart wide open, no matter what? So, of course, it's so easy to talk about, right? But living at the frequency of love isn't always easy. And actually, one of the biggest obstacles we face is our samskaras. Samskaras are those subconscious impressions left by past experiences. They act like these invisible walls around our hearts. Maybe you grew up feeling unworthy of love and now you unconsciously push it away. Or maybe you've been hurt in the past, so you keep your heart guarded, afraid to let anyone in. I like to think of them, they're kind of like the grooves on a record. Yes, they make the same song as it turns round and round, but that's all they ever do. And we have to go in and reshape these samskaras, these wounds, these emotional wounds that they're more than just emotions or behaviors. They literally leave tracks in our subconscious mind. These patterns are like grooves in your mind, replaying the same old story. I'm not enough. I'll get hurt again. Love isn't safe, whatever it might be for you. But here's the truth, some scars aren't permanent, they're not who you are. They're simply a collection of old experiences that shape the way you see the world, and they can be released. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it today. I've been going through this so intensely the last few years, but this last month, it feels like the universe is like, none of this gets to go into 2025. So here they all are. And I'll tell you, I'm going to have you ask some questions for awareness, but then I'm going to tell you what to do with your body because some scars trigger emotions and that nervous system response, and they can feel almost paralyzing. So the first step is awareness. Ask yourself, and I'll put these questions in the description wherever you're listening to this. What beliefs about love am I carrying? And I want you to know samskaras can be about anything. We're focusing on the frequency of love because that's the direction I believe that we get to go with our collective in 2025 and beyond, is living from this frequency. So we're going to focus on today what samskaras are blocking you from that pure and conditional love. But samskaras can show up for abundance, relationships, all these different things. So ask yourself, what beliefs am I about love am I carrying? Where am I holding back from giving or receiving love? How have past experiences shaped the way I show up in relationships with others and myself? So you're going to have these awarenesses, but what you're really going to do is you're going to notice, start becoming aware in your daily life when certain samskaras or blockages come up, when you get in your own way. And for me, a lot of my samskaras were based on unworthiness. I'm not enough witness. Like I have to be doing all of the time in order to be seen, lovable, whatever. And so anytime I would notice myself trying to relax, I would have anxiety in my solar plexus and heart. So watch what I did there. I noticed where I was feeling it. I would name it, not I am anxious, but I was experiencing or I was having anxiety in these locations. So I'm naming it, I'm calling attention to it. And then I would sit with it and I would put my hand on my heart and on my solar plexus and I would say, hey, welcome, you're welcome here. And I would allow it to take over and I would consciously choose to relax my body. A lot of times when we feel these harder feelings like grief or sadness or anxiety, we kind of clench and try to push it away or not feel it as fully. And I would say, you're welcome here. And I would relax my whole body and I would let this emotion process its way through my body. I would I would cultivate a pattern where I wouldn't attach a story, but a lot of times when you're new to this, stories do come, and that's okay. We just let them go as they come. But I would literally just let the emotions move through my body because that's what some scars do. They hold energy in your body and it's constantly looking for a way to get released. And so as it shows up, if you allow it to move through, it loses a little bit of its clout. And those grooves get smaller and smaller. And then we implant those grooves with the positive things that we want to cultivate in our lives. And we'll talk about that later. So this is really, it's like trying to see the world through dirty glasses. You can't clean what you can't see. So the awareness of asking yourself these questions and becoming really conscious of it is literally your cleaning cloth, what you're using to wipe the lenses of the glasses you're wearing. And once you see these patterns, you start to rewrite them. So I'm going to follow this episode up with the next step next week. But for now, we're just focusing on becoming aware. And I always love to have these examples. And this is where Christ consciousness, which is the frequency that we're really moving into, it's the same thing as love frequency. This is where Christ consciousness offers us a powerful example. And if you're not really sure what Christ consciousness is, I talked about it all last week. You can go back to last week's meditation and podcast. But Jesus quite literally lived at the frequency of love. We talked last week how he wasn't this all powerful savior. He was just like you and me, but he lived in alignment. His miracles, healing the sick, forgiving the unforgivable, feeding thousands weren't acts of divine favoritism. They were the natural results of living in alignment with love, trust, and faith. And you, me, and the whole world has the ability to live in that same frequency, to create those same miracles. Christ consciousness is about embodying unconditional love. It's about seeing beyond the surface, beyond people's actions, beyond your own fears and doubts, and tapping into the essence of divinity within each and every one of us, starting with yourself. When you live from this place, miracles don't feel extraordinary. They are literally just natural parts of your day. Because love is the highest frequency. And when you align with it, you become a conduit for healing, for transformation, and grace. But here's the catch, and this is the hardest part for most people. Living at this frequency requires surrender. Surrendering the need to control, the need to be right, the need to protect yourself from pain. It requires trusting that love is always the right answer, even when it's hard. Asking over and over again, what would love do here? So here's how we actually live with a wide open heart. How we align with the frequency of love, especially when life or circumstances feel hard. Number one, you start with self-love always. You can't give what you don't have. Speak to yourself with kindness. Treat yourself with compassion. Show up for yourself the way you wish others would. Number two, practice forgiveness. Forgiveness isn't about condoning someone's behavior. It's about freeing yourself from the weight of resentment. It's a gift you give to your own heart. Number three, choose gratitude. Gratitude shifts your focus from lack to abundance. It reminds you that there is always, always something to love, even in the hardest moments. Number four, meditate on love. Close your eyes and visualize your heart radiating love. See that love flowing out into the world and touching everything and everyone. The meta prayer is also a really powerful tool for this. And I have tons of guided meditations on my YouTube channel, including one that will be released this Friday, all about unconditional love. Last week's was about Christ consciousness. You have so many options, but really take the time to meditate and invest in this frequency. And then number five, and this is the work that we're going to continuously do, and we're going to do it together over the next several weeks, release your samskaras. We've talked about this a lot, just with different terms. These are inner child wounds. These are shadow aspects. These are patterns that you subconsciously live by from hurt or from trying to control the future. We're going to release these. When old patterns arise, don't fight them. Acknowledge them. Thank them for the role they've played and gently let them go. Living with an open heart is a practice. It's not about being perfect. It's about being willing. And just like you would study and practice a language or math or any of those things, we get to practice living from the frequency of love. I just want to wrap this up to really help you set some intentions as we step into the new calendar year. Setting some intentions that align with the frequency of love instead of resolutions that focus on fixing what's wrong. What if your intention was simply to live with a heart wide open? To trust life even when it's uncertain. To choose love again and again and again, no matter what. Remember, this isn't about bypassing the hard stuff. It's about meeting it with the kind of love that transforms everything it touches. You are not your circumstance. You are not your past. You are love embodied. And I so appreciate you sharing the space for me, with me. Let's walk into this year with hearts wide open, trusting everything we need is already within us. I'm so excited about the new year's new topics and teachings. There's some really beautiful stuff in store for all of us as a collective, and I'll be right here by your side as we move through all of it. As always, breathe deep and plan on miracles. I'll talk to you very soon. Love you big. Bye bye.